Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today, we're going to be talking about something I'm sure is on a lot of your minds,
Definitely.
which is how to launch your first product.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're going to be talking about this in the context of Amazon. So if you're thinking of selling on Amazon, this is going to be perfect for you.
Very good.
We are going to be taking a deep dive into a chapter from a book called The 12-Month Million by Ryan Moran.
Yeah, good book.
And this chapter is all about product launches.
Yes. And the cool thing is what he talks about in this chapter, you can apply it to anything like if you're launching a course or if you're launching a service or anything really. It's not just about physical products on Amazon.
Yeah, it's more like the underlying principles of how to have a really successful launch.
Right.
And one of the things that I thought was super interesting that he talked about is that it's not just about those initial sales,
Right.
it's about building momentum.
Yes, love that.
He talks about how like a successful launch isn't just about getting those like $1 sales. It's about setting yourself up for long-term growth.
Right. And using those initial sales as a springboard to
Yeah,
much bigger things.
exactly.
And he gives a really good example in the book about a fitness tracker that he launched.
Oh, yeah.
The initial sales were okay, but what happened was it really started to take off when he got into the hands of some fitness communities. And then they were just like, this is the fitness tracker to get. And from there, it was just like, boom, huge momentum, huge growth.
Yeah, like a snowball effect.
Yeah, totally a snowball effect.
Instead of snow, it's like made of sales and happy customers and social media buzz and all that.
Exactly. And especially on Amazon, because that's what Amazon's algorithm wants to see.
Right.
I want to see those initial sales as like a signal that this is a good product that people want, and the algorithm's going to start showing it to more people.
Like a vote of confidence.
Yes, exactly.
So, getting those initial sales is kind of like you're getting those initial votes that you're, a viable candidate for people to buy.
Exactly.
But then the question is, how do you actually build that momentum? Because, one of the things that Ryan Moran talks about is like the cardinal sin of launching a product is launching into the void.
Oh, yeah, 100%. He is a huge advocate for building that audience before you launch it.
Right. So it's not just about like building it and they will come.
Exactly.
You kind of have to get the party started before, the party's even happening.
Yeah, you don't want to be sending out invitations on the day of the party, hoping that people show up.
Right.
You got to get people excited in advance.
So how do you do that?
Well, he's got a few really good tactics that he talks about.
Okay.
One of them is building an email list.
Makes sense.
He actually gives an example of where he launched a coffee brand. And the way that he did that was he built an email list of coffee enthusiasts first.
That's smart.
I know, right?
So instead of like starting with a product, he started with like the community
Exactly.
and a way for people to kind of congregate around his love of coffee.
Yes. And he would just give out valuable content related to coffee.
So it wasn't even like salesy stuff?
No, it was just good information about brewing methods and, different types of coffee beans and all that kind of stuff.
So it's like he was providing value before he asked for the sale.
Yes, exactly.
Which is what we always talk about. Give, and then you can ask because you got to give first.
Exactly. And then the other thing that he talks about is the power of micro-influencers.
Yes.
So these are people who have a small but highly engaged audience in your niche.
So they may not have like millions of followers, but
Right.
but their followers trust them.
Absolutely. And it's about, getting those people on board.
Yeah, it's almost like getting a street team together.
Totally.
Like a group of cheerleaders that are ready to, promote your product once it's out there.
Exactly.
So So you've got momentum, you've got the people ready to buy,
Right.
but then there's the storefront.
Yes.
And especially on a platform like Amazon where there are, thousands and thousands of products.
It's incredibly competitive.
Yeah. Your product listing has to stand out.
It has to be amazing.
It has to shine.
He uses the analogy of a physical storefront. You wouldn't just throw your products on a dusty shelf and expect people to be lining up around the block.
Yeah, exactly. You got to do something to make it look enticing and,
Draw people in.
yeah, get people to actually come in and look at what you're selling.
Right.
So what does he say about how to make your product listing stand out?
He talks about a few key elements.
Okay.
First of all, the title.
Okay.
The title has to be very clear, very concise, and it has to be keyword rich.
Okay. So it's not just like a cute little name. It's got to be something that people are actually searching for.
Exactly. You got to think about what words people are typing in
Yeah.
when they're trying to find a product like yours. Then you need images,
Right.
high quality images.
Yeah, like not just like your iPhone photos.
Yeah. He actually even recommends that if you are not confident in your photography skills, hire a professional.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's worth the investment.
Yeah, because I guess that's the first impression that people get.
Exactly. It's your shop window.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the last thing is the description. And he's very adamant that the description is not just a list of features
Right.
or dry technical specs.
Nobody wants to read a manual when
That,
they're
he
shopping.
says you need to focus on benefits and solving problems.
Yeah.
He actually tells this story in the book about this product that he saw that had amazing reviews,
Oh, really?
but the sales were dismal.
Wow.
And he looked at the listing, and the description was so dull and boring.
Ouch.
And it didn't really connect with the customer or explain how this product could improve their life.
So it could have been the best product in the world, but if they weren't communicating that to the customer, then
Right.
it was doomed to fail.
Exactly. It's like having a great book with a terrible cover.
Yeah, nobody's going to make it up.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got the momentum, we've got the people ready to buy, we've got our storefront all set up and looking great.
Right.
But then how do you get those sales rolling?
Okay, this is where Ryan Moran gets very tactical.
Okay, I love it.
He believes that the launch sequence isn't about luck. It's about having a step-by-step playbook to follow.
I love that.
So it's like you're not just, wandering around hoping for the best.
Yeah, like stumbling through the wilderness. You've got a map.
You got a map.
You've got, a compass, and
Exactly.
you know what direction you're going in.
Precisely.
Okay, so let's break down this playbook.
Yes.
What's the first step? What does he recommend for getting those initial sales, like right out the gate?
So the first thing he says is leverage your existing network,
Okay.
friends, family, colleagues.
Right. People who already know, like, and trust you, they're going to be your biggest cheerleaders at the beginning.
Yeah. And you can also offer early bird discounts or limited time promotions just to incentivize people to buy early on.
Okay, so create that sense of urgency.
Yeah, exactly. FOMO.
Fear of missing out.
Fear of missing out. Yeah.
Wow.
And then he talks about customer reviews.
Oh, yes.
So important.
They can make or break a product, especially on Amazon.
Yeah.
I know that I rely on those reviews heavily when I'm making purchasing decisions.
Me too. Everyone does.
Yeah.
And he's really adamant about getting authentic reviews.
Right.
No buying reviews.
None of that shady stuff.
No, no, no. That can actually really backfire.
Yeah, it can damage your reputation in the long run.
Exactly.
Focus
on providing excellent customer service,
Right.
following up with buyers, making sure that they're happy with their purchase, and then you can politely request a review.
Okay, so it's like building that relationship
Yes.
with your customers and then asking them, hey,
Yeah.
would you mind sharing your experience?
Exactly. And you could even use Amazon's Vine program.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
It connects vendors with trusted reviewers who provide honest feedback.
Okay, cool.
So that's another option.
So you've got the initial sales rolling in. You're starting to get those good reviews.
Right.
What's next? How do you keep that momentum going?
Okay, so this is where he talks about diversifying your traffic sources.
Makes sense.
You don't want to just rely on one platform or one marketing channel.
Right. Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Because if
that basket falls,
yeah, you're in trouble.
then you're in trouble.
So he recommends exploring things like Amazon PPC ads, social media advertising,
right.
influencer marketing, content marketing, even email marketing.
Oh, wow. So it's like having multiple strings of traffic coming in.
Exactly.
So you're not overly reliant on any one source.
Absolutely. And he also says to constantly monitor your data
Right.
and tweak your approach based on what's working.
So it's not like a set it and forget it thing. It's like you're constantly watching the numbers
Yes.
and seeing what's working, what's not working, and then adjusting accordingly.
Exactly. He actually tells a story in the book about a launch that he did where he was convinced that Facebook ads were going to be his main driver of sales,
Okay.
but it turned out that influencer marketing was way more effective.
Interesting.
Yeah. So you just never know.
Got to be flexible.
You got to be flexible, be willing to adapt.
Okay, so we've talked about the steps in his playbook, but are there any common mistakes that he warns against?
Oh, yeah.
Like pitfalls that can sabotage your launch?
Absolutely. He dedicates a whole section to avoiding launch pitfalls.
Okay, let's talk about what not to do.
Okay, so one of the biggest mistakes he sees is launching without an audience.
Right.
People think, oh, if I built it, they will come.
Right.
But that's just not the case anymore.
Yeah, it's too crowded.
It's way too crowded. You got to get people excited in advance.
Right, like we were talking about earlier.
Exactly.
Building that momentum beforehand.
Yeah. And another one is neglecting your product listing.
Right.
We've talked about how important that is.
It's like having a beautiful store, but nobody can find it.
Exactly. Yeah.
What else?
Ignoring customer reviews.
Right.
Those reviews are social proof.
They really are.
Yeah. And they can really make or break a product.
Do you respond to reviews when you get them?
Yeah. I try to respond to all of them, the good and the bad.
Right.
It shows that you're engaged and that you care.
Right.
And then another one is pricing mistakes.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah.
Like, how do you know what to charge for your product?
It's tricky. He recommends doing your research, looking at competitor pricing, and really understanding what your target customer is willing to pay.
Okay, so you don't want to price yourself out of the market.
Exactly, or undervalue your product.
Right.
And you can even consider different pricing tiers or bundles.
Okay, that's smart.
Yeah, it gives you more flexibility.
Okay, what else?
And then the last one that he talks about is unrealistic expectations.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that they're going to launch a product and become an overnight success.
Right, they think it's going to be like instant millions.
Exactly. And it
Yeah.
just doesn't work that way.
Yeah, it takes time.
It takes time, it takes effort,
Consistency.
consistency. Yeah,
And a lot of hustle.
absolutely.
So it's about setting realistic goals,
Yes,
celebrating those small wins, and
yes,
staying committed to the long game.
exactly.
Yeah, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Love that.
Well, yeah.
It's so true.
Listening to you talk about all these pitfalls, it makes me realize that launching a product can be quite a roller coaster ride emotionally.
Oh, for sure.
There's going to be moments of excitement and doubt and,
Frustration.
frustration. Yeah, all of that.
Yeah.
So it's not just about having the right strategies in place. It's also about having the right mindset to navigate all of those ups and downs.
Yes, 100%. And Ryan Moran actually talks about this quite a bit in the book.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, he talks about the importance of having a positive mindset, of managing expectations, and embracing the learning process.
So it's like viewing those challenges not as failures, but as opportunities
Exactly.
to learn and to grow.
Yeah, he encourages entrepreneurs to adopt what's called a growth mindset.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah,
It's basically the belief that you can learn and develop the skills that you need
exactly.
to succeed.
Yeah. And he also talks about the importance of self-care
Oh, yeah.
because launching a product can be so demanding.
Yes, it can be all-consuming.
You can be.
Yeah.
So he reminds people to prioritize their well-being, take breaks when needed, and surround themselves with supportive people.
I love that.
Yeah, you can't pour from an empty cup.
That's such a good analogy.
It's so true.
And I think it's something that a lot of entrepreneurs forget,
They do.
especially when you're in the thick of it and you're just like, go, go, go.
Yeah, it's so easy to get caught up in the hustle,
Yeah.
but you have to take care of yourself if you want to take care of your business.
Okay, so as our listeners are gearing up for their launches,
Yes.
we want to encourage them to not only focus on those external strategies, but also cultivate that internal resilience
Yes.
and self-care practices that'll sustain them through the journey.
Absolutely, because at the end of the day, success isn't just about achieving those external goals.
Right.
It's about feeling fulfilled and aligned and joyful along the way.
I love that.
Yeah.
And speaking of feeling fulfilled and aligned, I think one of the things that really struck me about Ryan's approach is his emphasis on storytelling.
Oh, yeah. That's such a powerful tool.
He believes that crafting a compelling narrative around your product is crucial
It is.
for connecting with your target audience.
Absolutely.
Because people don't just buy products, they buy into the stories behind them.
They want to know why it was created, what problems it solves, how it can improve their lives.
So it's about going beyond those features and benefits
Yes,
and really tapping into that emotional connection that storytelling creates.
exactly. And he suggests using vivid language-relatable anecdotes,
Yeah.
compelling visuals, just to bring your brand story to life.
He even talks about using customer testimonials, like those little snippets of stories from real people.
Yeah, or behind-the-scenes glimpses of your product development process.
Right, so people can see like the blood, sweat, and tears that went into creating it.
Exactly, or user-generated content
Okay.
showing how your product is making a real difference in people's lives.
Yeah, I love that.
And he emphasizes the importance of authenticity.
Right.
People can spot a fake story a mile away.
Yeah, it's got to be genuine.
It has to be genuine.
Yeah,
And when done well, storytelling can be incredibly powerful.
it can. Yeah.
It can turn your product launch into a viral sensation,
I love that.
fueled by authentic excitement and genuine connection.
It's like the ultimate form of organic growth,
It is.
right? Because it's not you pushing it out, it's people sharing it because they love it.
Exactly.
So as our listeners are working on their launch plans, encourage them to think about the story that they want to tell.
Yes.
What's that narrative that's going to capture their audience's attention, make them feel something, and inspire them to take action?
Absolutely, because at the end of the day, it's the stories that we tell that truly connect us, build trust, and create a lasting impact.
I love that.
Yeah,
We've talked a lot about the external aspects of a successful launch.
right.
The marketing, the strategies, the tactics. But I think it's also important to acknowledge that internal game as well.
Yes, the mindset is so important.
Right. The beliefs, the self-talk, like all of that plays a huge role in how you approach and experience that launch process.
Absolutely, it's all connected.
Yeah, Ryan actually dedicates a whole section to this in the book.
Does he?
He does. He talks about the importance of cultivating a positive mindset, managing expectations, and embracing the learning process.
He's big on the learning process.
Yeah, he emphasizes the fact that launching a product, especially your first one, is a journey
It is.
of growth and discovery.
Yeah, you're going to learn so much.
Yeah, there's going to be challenges, setbacks, moments where you just want to like
Throw in the towel.
throw in the towel. Yeah, but it's how you navigate those experiences that's really going to determine your
He
success.
talks about embracing those challenges, not seeing them as failures,
Right.
but as opportunities to learn and to grow and to get better.
It's all part of the process.
It is.
So would you say that he's advocating for like a grow mindset then?
Yeah, 100%. And
And
then,
yeah.
on top of that, he stresses the importance of self-care
Yeah.
because launching a product is such a demanding process.
It can be physically and emotionally draining.
It can be all-consuming.
So it's important to prioritize those things that fill your cup
Yes,
so you can show up as your best self.
absolutely you can't. Pour from an empty cup.
I love that. Okay, so as our listeners are working towards their launch date,
Yeah,
we want to encourage them to not only focus on those external strategies, but also cultivate that internal resilience and those self-care practices that's going to sustain them throughout the journey.
because at the end of the day, success isn't just about achieving those external goals.
Right.
It's about feeling fulfilled and aligned and joyful along the way.
Well said.
Yeah,
Listening to you talk about all of this, it's clear that launching a product is about so much more than just following a set of steps.
it's a journey.
It's a journey, it's an experience,
It is.
it's a transformation.
Yeah, you're going to come out the other side a different person,
Yeah.
hopefully for the better.
Hopefully, yeah.
And Ryan actually talks about that too.
Does he?
He talks about aligning your product with your values,
Okay.
your purpose, and your vision for the future.
So it's not just about making money, it's about creating something that you're truly proud of.
Exactly. It's about making a positive contribution to the world.
I love that.
Yeah.
So as our listeners are refining their product ideas and crafting those launch plans,
Yes.
encourage them to really tap into that deeper sense of purpose.
Yeah. Like, why are they doing this?
Yeah.
What impact do they want to make?
What legacy do they want to leave behind?
Exactly.
Because when you're driven by a powerful why,
Yeah.
the how becomes so much easier.
Yeah, it gives you the fuel to keep going when things get tough.
Absolutely.
And that's what makes entrepreneurship such a rewarding experience.
As we've been discussing all of this,
Yeah.
one thing that keeps coming to mind for me is the importance of understanding your target customer.
Oh my gosh, so important.
You can have the greatest product in the world, but if it doesn't solve a problem for your target customer,
It's not going to stop.
it's not going to sell. Yeah, it's going to be a flop.
Yeah,
Ryan talks about this a lot in the book.
he does.
Says you have to go beyond just basic demographics.
Yeah.
And really dig deep into their psychography.
Yeah, understanding their values, their beliefs,
Their motivations.
their aspirations, their fears.
Dreams, yeah.
Yeah, you got to get deep.
Because the more you understand your customer,
Yeah,
the better you can serve them.
exactly.
The better you can create a product that they're actually going to want to buy.
Yeah, and the better you can craft marketing messages that speak directly to them.
Yeah, it's like you're speaking their language.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that connection is what builds loyalty and trust and ultimately long-term success.
Okay, so how can entrepreneurs go about gathering that deep customer insight?
Well, there are a few ways.
Okay.
One is customer interviews.
Okay, just talking to people.
Yeah, exactly. Asking them questions.
Okay,
You can also send out surveys.
makes sense.
You can analyze your website data.
Right, see like what pages people are visiting,
Exactly.
what they're looking on.
Yeah. And you can also engage in what's called social listening.
Oh, what's that?
So that's basically monitoring social media
Okay.
to see what people are saying about your industry and your competitors.
So it's like being a fly on the wall,
Exactly.
listening to those conversations.
Yeah, you can learn a lot that way.
Yeah.
And as you gather all of these insights,
Yeah.
use them to refine your product, your messaging, your overall launch strategy.
So it's not just about collecting data,
No.
it's about using it
Exactly.
to make better decisions.
Yes.
Okay, so as our listeners are putting together their launch plan,
Yeah.
encourage them to really revisit that customer research.
Yeah, make sure they understand who they're serving.
Because at the end of the day, it's all about creating value for your customers.
Absolutely.
And that starts with truly understanding them.
Well said.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
From building momentum
Yeah.
to harnessing the power of storytelling
Yeah.
to understanding your target customer.
It's all connected.
But there's one more piece of advice from Ryan's book that I think is incredibly valuable.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Especially for those who are about to embark on their first product launch.
Tell me.
He talks about the importance of celebrating your wins,
Oh, yes. Love that.
no matter how small they may seem.
So important.
It's so easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of launching a product
Yeah,
and just be constantly striving for that next milestone.
right. You're always looking ahead to the
Yeah.
next thing.
But it's important to pause and recognize how far you've come.
Yes, celebrate those wins,
Yeah.
big or small.
It's like shifting from a mindset of scarcity
Yes,
to a mindset of abundance.
love that.
So whether it's hitting a sales target,
Yeah,
getting a positive customer review,
yeah,
or even just like completing a task on your to-do list,
yeah.
take a moment to savor that win.
Yes, acknowledge your progress.
Yeah, appreciate how far you've come.
It's so important for staying motivated.
I think it's especially important for first-time entrepreneurs
Yeah,
who are often facing, a steep learning curve
yeah,
and a lot of self-doubt.
absolutely. And celebrating those wins helps you stay positive, maintain momentum, and build confidence.
Yeah. So as our listeners are working towards their launch dates, encourage them to not only focus on the big goals,
Right.
but also celebrate those small victories along the way.
Because those small wins
Yeah.
are what paved the path to big success.
It's about recognizing that you're making progress every single day, even if it doesn't feel like it.
Yes, and those small wins can really add up to big results over time.
Exactly. Well said. Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of product launches, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought.
Okay, shoot.
Launching a product can be an incredibly rewarding experience,
It is.
but it's not without its challenges, you know?
For sure.
There will be moments of doubt, setbacks along the way, times when you question, is this even worth it?
Oh, yeah, those are the tough times.
Yeah.
But you got to push through them.
You do, and I think the key is to remember why you started this journey in the first place.
Absolutely.
Tap into that passion, that drive, that vision that ignited this whole adventure.
Yes, your why.
Yeah.
That's what's going to keep you going.
Exactly. And surround yourself with a supportive community of people who believe in you and your dream.
Yes, find your tribe.
Yes.
The people who get it.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's that belief in yourself and the support of those around you that's going to fuel your success. And remember, you've got this, we believe in you, and we're excited to see what amazing things you create.
Go out there and make it happen.
And that's a wrap on today's deep dive into the world of product launches.
Woo.
We hope you found this episode insightful, inspiring, and most importantly, actionable.
Until next time.
Keep learning, keep growing, and keep creating.